So a lot of you guys know that I'm very interested in the battle circuits, into the rap battle circuits. There's always been this speculation or this constant dance of Cassidy battling. I think it dates back to a few years ago when I think Murda Mook had some sort of beef with Cassidy or was trying to bait Cassidy into battling. Cassidy, of course, didn't take him up on his offer. Now, recently, Cassidy, said that the fact that Loaded Lux was paid $40,000 to battle is nothing for him. So basically, if he would be in a battle, URL or Total Slaughter, UW, it would have to make sense for him monetarily. And also, he has to battle someone who is just as known or was as known as he is. Because he claims that he was offered $100,000 to battle. Now, I think that Cassidy is I'm not going to say a legend, but I think Cassidy is a staple in rap music as far as lyricism goes. We can all agree that Cassidy he's great at the punchlines. And he does hold some sort of weight in the battle circuit, because I do sense some similarities in punchlines from cats who are still repping right now compared to how Cassidy used to flow. But I gotta say that Cassidy's gotta be full of shit. Because if you do the math and you say, well, $40,000 isn't worth it for a 10-minute affair, then what is worth it for you? I mean, if I can imagine how much money Drake gets paid for a show, if Drake gets paid, $200,000, $300,000, well, Drake claims, half a mil for a show. That's within like an hour set or so. So, I mean, you do the math. Cassidy doesn't think it's worth 10 minutes of his time for $40,000. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but I haven't heard Hotels on the airwaves. I haven't heard I'm a Hustler in probably 2 years. So what is it that Cassidy's doing? Why is he showing up on blogs and speaking about battle rap? You know what he's doing? Cassidy wants to be in line. Cassidy wants to be a fair-weathered rapper with the battle circuit. Cassidy wants to stand on the beach, on the dry lands, with his surfboard, and he's waiting for that wave, which is fine. This is a business. This is a industry that generates or is beginning to generate some sort of revenue. But this will be bittersweet if he ever battles. Joe Budden, of course, is battling Holla the Don at Total Slaughter. And there's a lot of risk in it for Joe. Of course, these battles aren't judged, but still there is the likelihood of maybe being embarrassed in front of someone who knows a lot about you as opposed to you knowing not that much about them. I do understand at the same time that Joe Budden is very steeped into the battle rap community. He is very connected. If I'm not mistaken, he's very close to Sue Surf. So he's got his ear to the streets. You know what I'm saying? But if you're Cassidy, and if you're openly saying that I'm not going to do this unless it makes sense for me, this could catch on in 2 to 3 years. You don't have that much time left. There are far more cats, especially on the come up, who can jump at that battle dollar and would totally out-trump a Cassidy. For example, if for some reason Action Bronson wanted to battle. And I'm not saying that he has interest in battling. I'm just using him as an example. I'm just saying that if in a year or two, Action Bronson wanted to battle, and there was this big event coming up, and promoters are throwing contracts here and there, and you get this much, you get that much. Do you really think that Cassidy is going to be at the top of the totem pole as far as a payday goes? The Condom Style song. Was that last year, 2 years ago? It was a song. He had a so-so verse on the Control, but even after that, he's feeding off of somebody else's doing. This isn't something that he's generating himself. Cassidy knows that at the present moment, he is, I hate to use this word, but if he is going to predicate everything on numbers and on being seen, he is irrelevant. Now, that's a word that I hate to use because the music that I love has nothing to do with it being known or relevant or popping or whatever. Or bumping in the whip. Shout out to Dead in Hip Hop. But he's got to understand that his time is ticking. We all know that $100,000 shit was bullshit. I mean, it has to be. It's got to be. I don't know who offered Cassidy that much money. I certainly wouldn't be that interested in watching Cassidy battle anyone. Okay? Holla the Don pointed out something that I definitely agree with. He pointed out that Cassidy, his punchlines are good, but they're a bit dated. And I totally agree with that. In order for Cassidy to be effective on that playing field, he'd have to change up his style a lot. We can all notice that Cassidy punches in a lot of times in whatever. I mean, if you want to hear punch-ins, I mean, just listen to his Control verse from last year. That was just a punch-in after another. And if you guys out there don't know what a punch-in is, it's basically when you're up on the mic and you're recording and you say, I put my lifetime in between the paper's lines. Hold up, I have no breath control. I had to come back in. I'm the quiet storm nigga who fight rhymes. PA, you heard of him, but I ain't concerned with them. And so on. So he's punching in a lot. How would that translate into the URL stage? I'd like to find out. If I could think of any people who I would be interested in battling, I told you guys the end of last year, I would love to see Hobson perform on one of these stages. And maybe it's not going to happen on URL. Maybe it can happen in some other circuit. I'd love to see Hobson. Of course, a lot of people have mentioned any member of Slaughterhouse. I think that I'd love to see Fabulous get into the battle circuit. I'd love to see Jada jump into the battle circuit. And Jada, it would be very interesting for Jada because he is basically the Jerry West of Smack URL. Jerry West, old basketball player who is basically the logo for the NBA. That silhouette of a guy dribbling with the red, white, and blue in the NBA in the bottom. Jada Kiss is smack. He is that brand. So there are a lot of people that I'd like to see. A lot of them aren't coming to mind now, but there are a lot of people that I would love to see battle before Cassidy. Cassidy's sheer arrogance, I think, is what astonishes me more than anything. As I said before, Cassidy isn't a legend, but he is a solid lyricist. May have been instrumental in shaping the styles of some of these battle rappers. But for him to sort of just preside over this whole culture, sort of, just telling this culture, you got to sing for your meal. You guys got to make it to a certain point, so then I would grace the stage. is totally fucking crazy. Now, if what Cassidy is doing is building up, rebuilding up his brand by just running his mouth and thinking that somehow is going to add some clout for a payday, then that's more understandable. But if he is actually serious about being that main event, that end-all be-all of battle rap fucking supremacy, then he's got another fucking thing coming. Cassidy's out of his fucking mind.